Big beefy mess. Big beefy mechs. Big beefy mechs. What's up, nerds? It's your boy, the OGGM, coming to you live on a Tuesday morning at 8:08 in the morning, the 26th day of September, in the year of our Lord Steve the Cat, 2023. It is about 70 degrees and sunny-ish here at Site B, and it's Tuesday. And what do we do on Tuesday, boys and girls? We look at toys, specifically the toys from Games Workshop. And why do we do Games Workshop every Tuesday? Filler. Because it's cool and it's interesting and it's fun. And I'm kind of like the only person in our end of the tabletop role-playing games swimming pool that consistently takes a look at Games Workshop, other than maybe DM James. But DM James knows way more about Games Workshop than I do, and he does way better painting than I do. So if you really want to get deep into Games Workshop, I'd go over there. But if you prefer the light sprinkling of Cinnamon Toast Crunch Games Workshop on your tabletop role-playing game morning breakfast cereal, I have no idea where that came from, but it sounded pretty cool. Then this is your spot. Let's take a look. What, if anything, has changed since last week? And of course, first and foremost, we go to the rumor engine for the 26th day of September. And as usual, there's nothing here, which is why this is brilliant. And I will say this consistently since we discovered this when talking about any other game company who isn't keeping us abreast at what's going on. Now, Paizo's got this down. EM Publishing's got this down. Even Wizards of the Coast, in their own weird, self-destructive way, keeps us informed of what's going on with their gaming communities. But there are several other companies who are still like, even if you have nothing to say, you can tell us you have nothing to say every week, because it makes my job harder trying to dig up information that should adopt this idea for a page. So you're going to hear me say this a lot, especially when talking about like Pathfinder or other companies. 5 extra seconds of your week to make a page like this. Now, let's see. Last time we were here, we looked at these guys. So I recognize that bizarre orange coloring. So let's see what we've got for news this week. Looks like there's some new, not that this is really news, but these things. Looks like we've got some new designs for these things coming out, these little carrying cases. This is using a different take. You might be used to the carrying cases that had the foam inserts. This one seems to be using plastic pegs as a way to keep the figures safe. Obviously, you can't carry as many figures with this one as some of the larger ones. Wait, let's see. Well, it's definitely more manipulative. You can definitely get some of the weirder shapes in these, as opposed to with the foam ones, which, you know, if you wanted bigger figures or weird shaped figures, you kind of had to cut them out to make them. I've got something in my eye. You don't care, but I've got something in my eye. So that's the advantage of this one, because like you can see how these horses. The disadvantage would be the size. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 12 figures. It looks like about average. Do we have a, what is this? Looks like 40 millimeter figures it can hold up to. Do we have a size of how big these are? Well, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each of those is about what, an inch? So 1, 2, 3, about 5 inches. Let's say each one's about half a foot. All right, 5, 6 inches per one. Now, depending on how thick they are, I think it'd be what you would do is get a larger one that you could slide these into, like just record CDs or books in a bookcase. You just have like a larger tool case size, and then you can slide these in, and then you take them out and slide them back in as needed. That makes it slightly more cumbersome, I would assume, but it also allows you to carry more figures, because otherwise, only being able to carry 12 figures. When Warhammer armies, take up 30, 40, 60, 80 figures, it ends up making the other ones. I mean, I guess it depends upon price point. But I guess they're just showing off a new way to do this technology. Okay. Got some new stuff for Warhammer 40K. Obviously, this is going to be a big thing as Warhammer 40K just released its brand new edition. So we're going to see a lot of new figures and takes on figures and remasters of pre-existing figures that we've seen in the past for our Warhammer 40K love. Mainly focusing, of course, on the two main forces right now for the first 6 months, probably, with the Colonial Marines, or the Imperial Marines, or whatever they're called, and the bad guys, the Tyranids. So it looks like we've got another spread of alternative rules and alternative painting for these guys. I thought they were switching styles on how they were making the bits to the, what's they're called, the spruce, but this looks like it's the same as always. Yeah, that guy totally stands out. You know, this guy's getting the first guy getting shot. I mean, come on, all white armor, dude. You were totally the first guy getting shot. So this looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5 unit that you can build with these little things. Yeah, I thought they were switching to the different. Yeah. Remember all that big news about the spruces and how they were switching the style? It was supposed to be easier to pop them off. Nope, this still looks like the same as always, which is, you know, if you've ever had to work with this style, is just nightmarish to try and get to work and glue together, which is why I could never do this, because when I glued them together, they would just sort of look like a glob of plastic pieces glued together on just sort of a mass. And then I'd look over at somebody else with actual skill, like DM James, and I'd look at how well he can put them together and paint them. And I was like, well, fuck it. I'm not going to do this. I'll just buy somebody else's stuff after they've done it for me. Looks like we've got some new love for Necromunda coming around. Another city skirmish. So Necromunda is their city-based skirmish game. Think cyberpunk, I guess. Gangs fighting over a futuristic city. We've got a hive of blood. Looks like an adventure scenario for Necromunda. An interview with the design team for the new look and mechanics for the new Space Marines. We've got, for Necromunda, a flying unit for Necromunda. Well, I suppose any gang that gets control of the air would have superiority. I don't know if I like this design, though. I see what they're trying to do, but it doesn't really work for me. That rear end is way too top heavy. Those legs would not support it. And I don't see where the thrust could be carried to carry them skyborne. This guy's just frightening. I'd love to, this one is definitely could be a D&D figure. This guy could be a D&D figure or a Necromunda figure. This is cool. Love the buildings. This one was cool. I saw one yesterday. It was like a ocean-based laboratory lighthouse on something that just looked like so fucking cool. And I was like, man, I wish I could build that. But when I put it together, it would just not look like it. Got some new Warcry terrain. As we're getting closer to Christmas, of course, we're going to see a lot more of the big money bundles coming out from these guys. So yeah, expect to see more terrain. So this seems sort of to be a treehouse in a ruins of a Stargate kind of thing. If you're wondering what that noise is, it's Steve trying to kill the wall for some reason. Pre-orders coming up. Got this big stompy mech. And we've got this big stompy mech. We got some terrain. I would expect to see, as we get closer to Christmas, big money items like terrain becoming available. Some Blood Bowl. We already saw these guys. We got the vampires and the alternative takes on the vampires. We got this guy who's sort of a cyber vampire. You know, he's got the vampire upper, but then if you look down here, he's got some kind of gear spring thing coming out of his smoke. And as usual, no legs, because Games Workshop hates legs for some reason. Yeah, dude, you can't wear glasses on the football field. Pirate, jester, vampire. That guy's frightening. I'd be afraid to see him in a D&D adventure, much less Blood Bowl. Yeah, it looks like we got the new Blood Bowl leagues season starting. Some new Blood Bowl maps. There's a lot of Blood Bowl love. Hey, remember this? That's right. They did a Lord of the Rings skirmish game. I can't believe they're trying to bring this back. This is called Battle at Balin's Tomb, and it's the fight in the movie where they're inside that tomb and they're like, he's got a cave troll. So this is a way to fight out that scene. I didn't even know they were still supporting that. Some new books coming out. We've got For the Emperor by Sandy Mitchell. We've got a digital book called The Chapters Due. And that seems to be it for novels this week. And then, of course, we get back to where we left off last week with the strange orange guy. That would never work. All right, this guy with the Stargate on his back. Cool idea. You know, he shows up first and then the others come through the Stargate, but that armor is that would just be way too top heavy. 2 legs is not enough to support that weight. You know, and if guys are coming through that, flying through that gate, the backwash from their engines would eventually just knock this guy down. So cool idea, but in practice, of course, it wouldn't work. But then in practice, most of these wouldn't work. That's why it's fantasy, and that's why it's a game, and that's why it's fun, because we know in real life something this would never work. Nobody would build this. Ooh, I like this paint job. Very old school, dirty, more old Victorian city. See, the other colors were great. Just for some reason, this Warhammer orange just makes everything look weird. I don't know why. Maybe it's just me. It doesn't seem to bother anybody else. And looks like the Golden Demon Awards are coming up. So here are the categories for the 2024 Golden Demon Awards. If you want to check them out, we'll cut it and paste it and put it on the front for the things. So start your building now, because as we can see, here's what the last year's winners were. This dude, I don't love him. This scene, I'm okay with it. I don't really love that one either. And then this classic scene. This is classic. This is cool. This is okay. But again, I don't love it. Weird. Don't know why this. I mean, I guess I could see why this guy won. It is a good paint job. It just doesn't really Lava Lich. Doesn't really. I don't know. It's a great paint job. I mean, I can't paint that good, so I'm not in a position to go, "Oh, that sucks, dude." No, just for some reason, it doesn't pop for me. But what do you think? Do you like this guy? Anyways, I guess entries are starting now. 20th of March next year, when I guess it brings it to a close. So here are the categories. Great way to end off this week's episode. If you are a Warhammer Games Workshop dude and you think your painting qualities are good enough, here are the nominations. I'll post a link as well. So yeah, check it out. And maybe you'll win an award. And when you win the award, remember to, as you're walking up to the podium and they announce your name, and the winner for best painting for Warhammer, and you're like there accepting your gigantically ridiculous huge sword that your mom won't let you bring home, remember to thank me. Remember to say, ladies and gentlemen, I would not be here if it wasn't for the OGGM encouraging my love for Games Workshop painting. Hey, OGGM! It's a dream. I know it's a silly dream, but it's a dream. Probably the best way to thank me, though, is just to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. I'll talk to you later.